Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome dear learners. I am Dr. Manisha Goswami, working as an assistant professor at Institute of Business Management, GLA University, Mathura. Today we are going to start with our sixth lecture on strategy, formulation and business strategies. So in the previous lecture, what we had done, let's have a quick recap and then we'll proceed further to our today's lecture. In our previous lecture, we talk about the concept of strategy, and under the concept of strategy, we got to know that strategy is acting as a blueprint for the rest of the organization, because it is defining that how other activities are to be performed, how resources are going to be allocated, which particular target, which particular market is to be captured. So the concept of strategy is about understanding that you have to develop your intellectual ability, you have to develop influential power, you have to develop your positioning abilities and the psychological tactics in terms of catering the market well as compared to your competitors, and that's how you will be gaining an edge over your competitors. In the next, we talk about the corporate governance. Corporate governance effectively explains and ensures that you are maintaining proper accountability, sustainability, and ensuring the transparency within the organization. So if any organization is finding a difficulty in maintaining the transparency, they are not maintaining the accountability, that means they are not ethically correct, and as a result of this, over the period of time, investors will lose interest in such kind of the organizations. So corporate governance highlights the importance of being transparent, accountable and ethically correct. And this is how we understood that strategists or the top management of the company should ensure that they are maintaining the ethical behavior while setting the strategies for the organization. Further, in the previous lecture, we talk about the importance of environment scanning. How important is to scan the environment, because without scanning the environment, without monitoring the environment, without getting the proper data, either through the primary sources or through the secondary sources, how you will be able to analyze, how you will be able to find out what your competitors are doing, how you will be able to identify what are the trends in the market. So for identifying the trends in the market, for identifying your competitors' performance in the market, for understanding what are the rules and regulation of the government, how political environment is working, how economy of a country is going on. So you need to assess the environment, you need to analyze the environment. So there are two aspects of the environment. One is the internal environment, another one is the external environment. So both environment has to be assessed well. As far as the industry analysis is concerned, it is talking about the task environment, where company has to do the Potter's 5 force model analysis. Under that model, you have understood that there are 4 different kind of forces which is compelling the organization existence from all the 4 different sides. One is your customer bargaining power, another one is supplier bargaining power, third one is the threat of new entrant, fourth one is the threat of substitute, and the fifth, another very important force, which is coming from the industry itself. You being a part of industry, a lot of companies are there, and these different companies are posing difficulty for your survival. So if you successfully able to answer all these 4 different courses, the fifth force by themselves will be neutralized. So in the 5 forces Potter's model, we again try to figure out that how good you able to handle the customer bargaining power, how good you able to handle the supplier bargaining power, threats of new entrant, threats of substitute. If you manage to handle all these 4 different forces, fifth force themselves will get neutralized. And that's how you got to know about the list of your opportunities and the threats also. Further, while analyzing the external environment, you must have gone through the political, economical, socio-culture, technological, ecological, legal environment assessment. There also we try to list out the various opportunities and the threats prevailing in the environment. with the collection of these listing of opportunities and threats, now what next I have to do? I have to do the organizational analysis also. That means assessing myself whether I am in position to really encash these opportunities. That comes in our next lecture, where we did organizational analysis and the comparative advantage. So after knowing various threats are also prevailing in the market, after doing the assessment of external environment, you have to identify how you're going to handle those opportunities and the threats. So for this, you have to do your internal environment analysis, which is also known as organizational analysis. And once you are done with this, by analyzing your resource, structure and culture of the company, for this various tools are there, like VRIO model was there given by the Barney, then value chain analysis model is there. All these models will help you to understand the worth of the resources of your organization. Is it really worth to hold, or you need to really think about coming up with some better resources for your organization? And if the resources that you are holding is very good and it's very rare and it cannot be imitated by your competitors or the survival, then in that case such kind of the resources to be really hold on with, and you should try to find out how you are going to amplify the available resources so that you can create a tough time for your competitors, and that's how you can gain the competitive edge in the market. And with this list of strength and weakness and the list of opportunities and threats, what you will be doing? You will be trying to find out the right permutation combination between your strength and the opportunities, so that you can maximize the opportunities and can minimize the available threats, and that will also help you to overcome your weaknesses. Further, in the next lecture, we talk about the strategy formulation, where we started working on that how strategies are going to be formulated, because now so far we are ready with the required data which can help us to formulate the strategy, and we are ethically also correct after understanding the corporate governance requirement, that is transparency, accountability and the ethics. So after this is the high time to start with your formation of the corporate strategy. And the formation of the corporate strategy, the top managements are involved in it, and the prime focus is to give the correct direction. Direction is going to be based on what the different market conditions, like if market condition is favorable, the company will give the direction of the growth. If market condition is not favorable, the company will give the direction of retrenchment. If the market conditions are full of uncertainty and they are not sure how market will take the shape, then in that case the direction will be of stability. And for understanding these three different levels of the strategies under the direction, we try to understand that based on the company's strength and the weakness, we will be taking a call whether to go for growth, to go for stability or to go for retrenchment. And if the strengths are higher and the opportunities are also higher, we will be going for the growth strategy. And the growth strategy could be of again two type. One is the concentration, another one is the conglomerate, that is your conglomerate diversification. So if you are trying to concentrate in the same business, that is going to lead you to the horizontal expansion of your business. And if your strength are matching, but your strength are not so much supportive with the existing product line which you are offering, and you are trying to come up with some other additional product line in some other field, then you need to go for the conglomerate diversification. And that conglomerate diversification talks about the unrelated line of diversification of your product. But if you are trying to diversify in the related line, then it will be termed as a concentric diversification. So while analyzing all these different aspects of the corporate strategy, the top management is trying to set the tone of the workers working in the organization. They are trying to give the clear line of direction for them, so that there will be no ambiguity, there will be no confusion among the people, and every worker working in the organization is having a clarity what exactly is expecting them to perform in the organization. Thereafter, now after completing this understanding, the direction or the portfolio analysis which is coming up, that is the organization assessment of the different portfolio. They try to find out which particular portfolio is giving profits to me, which particular portfolio is incurring losses to me. And again, you're going to further question to the product portfolio which is incurring losses, whether there is a potential to incur profit in near future, or it will not be able to incur any profit in the near future. So if the answer comes that there is a potential that this product can help you to leverage profits in near future, the only correction in the strategy is required or the proper execution is required, then such kind of product will go for the corporate parenting. With all these understanding, I'm sure students, now you are ready to have a transition towards the business strategies. Now we are heading towards our today's topic, that is strategy formulation, business strategies, which is the next level of the strategy after the corporate strategy. Under this particular topic, we'll try to understand the few important points, like you will be having a fair understanding about the vision mission of a company, how objectives are framed based on the vision mission of a company, and then we'll try to understand the different business strategies like cost leadership, like differentiation, and the focus strategy. And after this, we will try to understand that how different techniques like SWOT and PESTEL analysis is going to be a useful tool for making the business decision or for having a correct business strategy in place in the organization to create a competitive edge and to create your distinct position in the market. So by and large, we can understand just for the beginning, to begin with this lecture, that the business strategies are meant for creating a distinct position in the market, and these business strategies are formulated for making you understand that what your competitors are doing and how you can be different in the market. So now let's proceed to our today's lecture. Now, under business strategy framework, the first aspect is the SWOT analysis. As I told you that while doing the environment analysis, you try to list out the strength, weakness from organizational analysis, where you have gone deep into understanding of the resource, structure and culture of a company. And for getting the list of opportunities and threat, you have to go deep in understanding the macro and micro environment, that is your PESTEL and your 5 forces Potter's model. Thereafter, you will be having a list of opportunities and threat. Thereafter, after having the list of both strength, weakness, opportunities, threat, you're going to club them together and formulate a matrix. Here, as you can see, in the case of Apple Incorporation, the strength could be strong brand, innovation, customer loyalty. All these things are coming under the strength of a company. If a particular thing I am very confident of, that means I am way better than my competitor. I'm agile, I'm flexible, I'm quick in adaptation, right? I am quick in taking the advantage of the technology as compared to any of my competitors. Then comes your weakness, like high product price is a weakness which your competitors are trying to get an edge over you by offering more or less the similar product comparatively at cheaper rate. Dependency on iPhone sale, because the major chunk of the source of profit for the Apple Incorporation is coming from the iPhone only. The rest of the brands, the rest of the product lines of the Apple phone or maybe the Apple Incorporation, like iPad, iPod, and the Apple MacBook and the Apple television, Apple Watch is comparatively having a less sale as compared to iPhone. So this becomes the weakness of the organization, because they are equally investing on other product lines also of the company, but they are not able to leverage profits from them. That's why it is mentioned as a dependency on iPhone. The next comes your opportunities. So after assessing the political environment of the global market, and after assessing the 5 forces Potter's model again from the perspective of the global market, you're able to come up with the opportunities like expansion on AI and variable technology. Variable technology and expansion of AI is becoming opportunity for you, and you are very tech savvy and you are already investing a lot in the technology, and your system are incorporated in such a manner that it can easily grasp the advancement of technology as compared to anybody else. So that's why this opportunity you can easily grab and can help you to take an edge over your competitors, because your innovation strength. Here it is mentioned that under your strength it is innovation and the expansion on AI and variable technology, because you are very innovative. That means you are putting hefty amount of money in R&D. So this is going to be a right set of permutation combination for your organization. Now coming towards the threat. The threats are coming from whom? The competitors like Samsung, Google. Supply chain issues are also there when it comes to a global market. So if any organization is having this much of clarity then do you think they won't be able to set the correct strategy for their organization to have an edge over their competitors? You have a clarity who is your competitor, you have a clarity where you are lagging behind, you have a clarity that what you can do best, what are the A plus areas of your organization. I'm sure the organization can do wonders in the market. Next, coming under the business strategy framework after the SWOT analysis is the 5 forces of Porter's model. When we take the example of Amazon for understanding the 5 forces of Porter's model, under the 5 forces Porter's model, the first one here mentioned is the threat of new entrant. That means there are no entry barriers and exit barriers. If in a particular sector or industry, there are no entry barriers, there are no exit barriers, what is going to happen? Government has pulled off all the entry barrier or exit barrier. It indicates that government want maximum people to invest in this particular sector. But you, as a part of that industry or that particular area, you have to face the tough competition, because every next person coming up in the sector, they come up with new innovative idea, they come up with a lot of zeal, with lot of innovative thoughts, they come up with lot of aspiration to do something in that particular sector. And you being into this market or the sector for quite a long, you may become a monotonous, or you may become an old bee, and the customer may shift to the new company people or the products which they are offering. So this become a threat for the people, and you have to find your ways how you will be overcoming the threat. As far as the Amazon is concerned, the threat of new entrant is comparatively very low. Why? Because high investment is required. Every next organization cannot think of entering into this, because e-commerce require a lot of heavy investment, and apart from the heavy investment, maintenance of the e-commerce database and everything also require a heavy investment. Then next comes your bargaining power of the supplier. That suppliers, who are your supplier as far as Amazon is concerned, that the affiliate, this is a concept of affiliate marketing, where every shopkeeper of the particular location is going to get themselves associated with the with the Amazon, and as a result, what will happen? They will be generating a pool of the product on the website of the Amazon. So bargaining power of a supplier here is moderate, because Amazon has multiple suppliers at different locations. There are different shopkeepers, there are different retailers, and every next retailer and shopkeeper, because of a growing need and demand of online shopping, they are affiliating themselves with the Amazon platform, and they want to list their product on the Amazon website. And Amazon is very popular, so comparatively it's moderate as compared to the other supplier. If any other competitor of the Amazon like Flipkart start giving lesser in percentage of the charges to the affiliate people, then in that case this may become a high risk for the Amazon. The next is the bargaining power of a buyer. So here the bargaining power of buyer is very high, because customer can easily switch to their competitors like Flipkart, competitors like Meesho. They are offering the product at a very reasonably low rate as compared to the Amazon, Myntra, right? So these are the people where they are acting as a close competitor of the Amazon. So this is very high. So I have to be very cautious about this aspect, that how I can control over my competitors, how I can control over the loyalty of my customer also, that how I can retain my customer, what different retention strategy or attraction strategy I should utilize in order to make my customer to only buy the product from the Amazon online instead of any other platform. So because this is coming out very high, and this become the area of concern for the company. Next is your threat of substitute. That means if there are multiple options which are close to the replica of the Amazon, like brick and mortar store, alternative e-commerce sites, they are the close substitute. They are offering more or less the same product which Amazon is offering. Then this is going to be a concern, and these two things are increasing the bargaining power of the buyer also, because multiple options are available. As a result, the customer can switch. Instead of buying from the Amazon, they may switch from buying the other e-commerce sites. And industrial rivalry, if we can see, it is very intense, it is very high, and people are investing heavily upon to make their product accessible at different global platforms the way Amazon has done. Walmart has acquired Flipkart. As a result, they are trying to enter into the India market also. Alibaba is also available. So these are creating an intense competition for the Amazon, and Amazon is keeping an eye over one thing, that is the customer retention. If I am successful in retaining my customer by providing the quality product to them, by taking care of the customer grievances, or by understanding their feedback and everything, then in that case they can minimize the impact of the intensity of the competition coming from the side of different companies like Walmart and Alibaba. So this is another very important aspect, that is understanding the level of the competition. If you have a vision of seeing how your competitors are moving, if you have a vision of seeing how your customers are moving, what is actually attracting your customer towards other brand, and if you can rectify all those things, you can easily have a long-lasting survival in the market. So after this, let's move to the next point, that is another framework, that is of the business strategy framework under the pestle analysis. Now there are different aspects like political environment, economical, socio-culture, technological, environmental, with this what we can say ecological, also legal. As far as the Tesla is concerned, let us try to understand this pestle analysis from the point of view of a Tesla company. So when it comes to political issues like government incentives for electric vehicle, do you think it's going to be an opportunity or threat? For sure, this is going to be an opportunity, because government is providing incentives to e-vehicles, and if they would not be providing the incentives to the e-vehicle, this will become what? The threat. So here the political environment is supporting e-vehicles. As a result, Tesla is finding that this is an opportunity for me to enter into a country like India. When it comes to the economy, high initial investment but long-term saving on fuel. Though earlier it was a very costly product, like e-vehicles were considered to be a little costlier than the petrol variant and the diesel variant, but because of the subsidy which government started providing, and even a battery on rent option has reduced the possibility of putting so much heavy upon the pocket of the customer. But still, if it is comparatively costlier, then in that case they can satisfy their customer, or they can make their customer understand that one-time investment will lead to you the effective results by saving the long term on fuels. So economic environment is also improving, and it's also growing up. Recently, the new budget system has come up, which is also giving a relaxation to a people who are earning 12 lakh rupees. So all these things are really going to improve the purchasing power parity. It is going to improve the consumption power of the customer. As the consumption power of a customer will increase, what they will be doing with that money, they will be investing upon such products in the market, and as a result, there will be more demand of different products, but there will be an issue of inflation. So this also become, though it is a high initial cost, but it is of mixed situation, but comparatively it is going to be considered as an opportunity for the Tesla company. Another aspect which is coming here is a social, that is growing preference for sustainable transport, right? So a social aspect, right? The culture, the taste and preferences of the customer. The customer has a preference over those products which are comparatively less heavier for their pocket. So if EVs are not going to be so costlier for them as compared to the petrol diesel variant, because the prices of the petrol is so high, the diesel the charges are so high, and if the EV vehicles can be charged up easily, then this particular thing is going to catch the attention of the customer, and this will not be a point of factor of a threat for them. So this is again going to be opportunity for the Tesla company, because growing preference for the sustainable product. People are looking for a product which are sustainable in nature, which is not going to affect the renewable source of energies, or which is not affecting the fuel, right? So people are shifting their taste and preference towards more of sustainable product. They also want to contribute to maintain the healthy environment. If petrol and diesel is emitting out lot of carbon, so they also want to contribute in by not purchasing certain products. Next, another opportunity set could be coming from the side of the technology, that advancement in battery technology is also acting as an opportunity for them. If there would have if there was not an advancement in the technology, then it could be a threat. But here it is not so. People are working heavily on developing better battery options. They are finding better elements or the raw material which they are making use of in order to develop the better effective battery, which is not going to harm the environment much. So far, the materials which they are using, the minerals they are using for developing a battery is actually very hazardous, is very harmful for the environment, for even the human body also if they inhale that. But otherwise, people are working, the R&D is still going on to make the battery more effective and more environment savvy. So this become a opportunity again for the Tesla. Another aspect of the pestle analysis is environment, that is your ecology. So shift toward green energy again become a plus point, and this becomes your opportunity again, because people are shifting towards the e-energy. They are trying to find out better options of commuting instead of solely relying on petrol, diesel or the CNG options. Another pestle analysis aspect is the legal, that is regulation or emission and the safety standard again gives the opportunity. So this become a high opportunity for the company who is into e-vehicle. So they are generating high opportunity set. And do you think if a company is having this much of database, that these are the area which are generating opportunity for them, so do you really think they are going to sit ideal? They are going to wait for some another number of years to really get the 100% assurance? For sure, the answer is no. They are going to put their R&D team, they are going to put their strategists to take the right strategy call at as early as possible before their competitors take a call on it. So I'm sure students, you are understanding that these three elements are helping in the development of the business strategies. The first one is your SWOT analysis is helping in developing the business strategy. Another one is the Porter's 5 force model outcomes and the pestle analysis. So all these three things are going to contribute in the creation of the business strategy. But now the next question arises, that without having an understanding of a vision and mission of a company and the objective of a company, do you in a position to really take a final call? Then now you have to see how I'm going to align the outcomes which I have just received after understanding the SWOT analysis, after understanding the pestle analysis, 5 forces Porter's model. I got some data, I got some information. Now I am going to align this information with the vision and mission of the organization so that I can easily execute what I want to execute in my organization. If these two things are on a contradictory side, then proper execution can never take place. So in order to bring the proper alignment, business strategic framework outcomes are going to be aligned with the vision and mission of a company. Now let's try to understand what do we mean by the term vision, and let us see some examples of the vision also. So as far as the basic understanding of vision is concerned, that vision is a forward-looking concept that where you see yourself. Vision is a statement which talks about where the particular organization is seeing themselves. So forward-looking statement defining what company aspire to become in the long run. 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, 25 years down the line. Like in 2018, IOCL set the vision that by 2040, we will be the best battery provider to the e-vehicles. So since 2018, they are working on it, right? So they have a clarity of 22 years of the vision. They're able to set 22 years of vision. Well, let's take an example of a Microsoft to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, right? So this is what they are aspiring to. This is what their vision is. Now in this Tesla, to create a most compelling car company by the 21st century by driving the world transition to electric vehicle. And they are really working on these vision of their organization. They are solely working on the vision of their organization. Next comes is the mission of the organization. Mission of the organization talks about that the purpose and its approach of achieving the vision, right? So mission is talking about the reason of existence of a company, and mission is actually helping the organization to really set the correct vision right? Mission is driving the formulation of the correct vision of the organization. Once the mission is set for a single product line, it is going to be constant. The reason of existence is not going to get changed over the period of time, but vision can change. Once the particular vision is attained, another vision is going to be formulated. After 5 years, another vision can be formulated. After 10 years, another vision can be formulated. But mission, the reason of existence of a company for a single product line, is not going to be changed. Only few more additions can take place. The basic soul is not going to get diluted. So the organization like Google, to organize the world information, make it universally accessible and useful. This is the reason why Google was formulated. Like in case of Nike, to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. This is the mission of the Nike company. So the mission talks about the reason of existence. For what reason you have established your unit? What are the basic things which you will be serving to the society? So it is going to be constant for a single product line. But vision can change over the period of time. Mission helps you to define your vision. Mission is going to be the one which is constant, but vision can vary. After 5 years, it can change once it is attained. If in case you fail to attain the vision, then also you can rectify your vision, because you might have set some unrealistic expectation, or you are not clear, right? I want to bring certain changes in the vision that you can incorporate. Now next, moving towards the business objective. After understanding the vision, mission, now the people who are the business strategy formulators, they are doing what? They are getting the clarity of vision, they are getting the clarity of the mission. The purpose is to align the outcomes of the business strategy framework. Now they will look into setting how they can adjust their framework outcomes with the business objectives. So they'll try to create certain business objectives based on the alignment of vision and mission. Now these objectives are going to be very much specific, measurable, time-oriented and achievable. So these are specific, measurable goals a business set to achieve its vision and the mission. Objectives are always very precise, to the point. They are controllable as compared to goal. Goals are non-measurable. Goals are just the mere thoughts which are coming in your mind, but it cannot be so easy to measure. When it comes to the objectives are easy to measure. Objectives are very time specific. Objectives can also be controlled, because you can see there are some deviations happening, and based on that deviation you can rectify, you can control the deviations of the various objectives of your organization. So goal and objective, this is what the major difference between the two. Now let's try to see what is the possible objective of the Amazon company. They expand Prime membership to 500 million users globally by 2030. So they are aspiring to have 500 million Prime membership of Amazon by 2030. So they are very specific. If in case they fail to attain by 2030, then they can rectify it, they can control, and they can find out what were the reasons why I'm not able to generate 500 million users by 2030. So with this statement, you are getting 100% clarity that what Amazon is aspiring to do by 2030. In the next 5 years, what they are looking for? They are looking for expanding the Prime membership from to 500 million. Another company like Apple increased revenue from services like Apple Music, iCloud, Apple Pay by 20% annually. So they are focusing on generating a revenue. Apart from Apple iPhone, they are focusing on Apple Music also, iCloud also, Apple Pay also, that too by 20%. So it is again very clear, very specific and time oriented also. Now, after having a fair understanding of the business strategy framework via SWOT analysis, PESTEL analysis, 5 forces Porter's model, you got to know that what is my organization vision, mission and objective, and you try to bring the alignment between the two. And for bringing the alignment, this is the matrix which is going to help the people who are formulating the business strategies. This is a model given by Michael Porter, and he is the very renowned professor of Harvard Business Review. Now let us look at this model of a business strategy, which is governing the major areas like cost leadership, differentiation, and the focus. These are the three essential elements of this matrix. Let us try to dive deep into it and make you understand more clearly that how these different elements of the Potter's generic strategy going to play the role to create the business strategy for the organization. So now this is going to, on the x-axis you can see they are the different sources of the comparative advantage, and on the y-axis you are seeing this is a scope, and it is a broader market, and this is a narrow market. When you are dealing with the broad market, the scope is broad market size is big. When it is narrow, then it is a niche market, very specific and for just group of people. Now under this, when you see the focus of cost and the market is broad, and you're aligning yourself to this particular quadrant where the cost leadership is going to be possible, that means you are focusing on reducing the cost of a product. If an organization is trying to get the cost leadership, what they should do, they should reduce the cost of production to a level which your competitors cannot be able to reach to that level. So if you able to come down to a level as low as possible, which none of your competitors or rival can even think of, reducing the price of the production to this level, that means you have gained the cost leadership. Because once you reduce the cost of a per unit production, the selling price of the product will also go down, and your competitors cannot offer the product at the rate which you can offer to your customer. As a result, you become a cost leader. But condition is market should be broad, because here you will be, what you will be doing, you will be buying the raw material in bulk, producing in bulk, and then selling in bulk. If market size is going to be small, then this bulk production is going to become an add-on cost to you, and you will never be able to attain the cost leadership. So if you want to attain the cost leadership, what you need to do first, that you have to buy the things in bulk, and market should be a broader size. You should deal with the larger size of the market. Then only you can attain the cost leadership. Otherwise, you won't be able to attain the cost leadership. Then next comes your very important aspect, that is your differentiation. Apart from the cost leadership, another important thing is differentiation. Under the differentiation, you try to differentiate your product, and on the basis of the differentiation of the product, you try to create your distinct position in the market, and with that distinct position in the market, you again try to create a attention, and you try to position your product in the mind of a customer, that you always come up with something unique, you always come up with something better, you come up with better features, and that's how you try to generate the attention, attraction, and the retention of the customer towards your brand. Again, the focus should be on one thing, that market should be of broader size. Otherwise, the cost of R&D which you have put to come up with a unique product or distinct product will become so heavy upon you that you will not be able to serve the customer with better quality. So when you are trying to come up with a differentiated product, a distinct product, you need to invest heavily on R&D. And if you want to recover all the costs which you have involved in producing a product which is distinct and different from the rest of the competitors, you need a broad market. Otherwise, this concept will fail, right? And then the next aspect of the generic strategy is a cost focus. That means you are focusing on cost. The cost becomes the prime important thing for you. You try to come up, you are focusing on a limited segment of a market who is very cost sensitive maybe, or who are ready to pay you whatever you want. But the market is very limited, the niche market. You're not dealing with the larger aspect of the market. So say for example, the people living below poverty line, and you try to offer the services to them. So you need to be very much cost cautious. You need to reduce the cost to a level that none other people can offer to them. And you have to reduce the cost so that they can easily afford. So you may be coming up with certain products which are very reasonably lower charge. So that is what going to come under the cost focus, because you are trying to support and provide certain services to a class of people who can't afford the products at a rate which you are offering. So coming up with the mobile phone of 500 rupees, like Reliance Mobile, come up with the 500 rupees of a mobile phone. That was a revolution, and that was a cost focus approach of a Reliance. Then coming towards the differentiation focus. Differentiation focus is like you are ready to pay whatever you want as a customer, but you want a product of your taste and preferences. Say for example, fashion designers are designing the outfit for the particular person, and the people are ready to pay thousands, lakhs of rupees for whatever the designs they are asking for. This is what known as differentiation focus. I want the product, I want the outfit, the fabric, the quality of the design, the quality and of the product, I want as per my taste and preferences. And the fashion designer is ready to replicate what you want, but he will be charging for that. And that is why it is going to become a differentiation focus, because the R&D, the efforts the fashion designer is going to put, he will be charging all those things upon you. And if you are ready to pay, you can place the order. If you're not ready to pay, don't place the order. So that is what the differentiation focus. Like Harley Davidson, if you're buying a bike and you want some additional features into it, you want some additional accessories for that, they are ready to manufacture it for you, but you have to pay additional charges for that. So this is what differentiation focus. Every next person is having their own requirement, their own interest. The designers are ready to design it as per your taste and preferences, but you have to pay additional cost for it. This is what differentiation focus, and how it is different from the broader market, because the differentiation and differentiation focus is going to be absolutely different. Here in the differentiation, they are coming up with a unique product, but the size of the market is unique, is going to be broad. Every next person can make use of that. But when it comes to a differentiation focus, what individual is demanding, what I as an individual customer is asking for the accessories in the Harley Davidson bike, is going to be very different from the next person which he or she is desiring for. Then in that case, there is going to be a difference in the offering of the services. There's going to be a variation in the process of coming up with the products to support the requirement of the customer. Exact taste and preference. Same is the case with the fashion designer. What kind of outfit I may be requiring, the other person may not be requiring. So this is going to be a distinct style of a particular fashion designer of supporting the requirement of individual customer. So coming down to a level of a customer, absolutely customizing the product as per the taste and preference of an individual customer is going to come under the differentiation focus. So after understanding all these quadrants, now coming back to the question that how you are going to make use of the previous things. Previous things like you have done a business strategy framework analysis, SWOT, PESTEL, 5 forces spotters model, and you have a fair understanding of vision, mission and objective of the organization. Now keeping all these things, now you are going to find out that whether I should go for cost leadership, or I should go for differentiation, or I should go for differentiation focus or cost focus. So if I go back to the previous slide, here in case of a Tesla, and we have seen ample of opportunities are there in case of Tesla, what kind of the business strategy they are going to opt for? Are they going to opt for the differentiation strategy, or are they going to opt for the cost leadership strategy? I'm sure they are going to opt for the differentiation strategy, but for the broader market. So this strategy goes well with Tesla. This strategy is going well with the Tesla. They will be going for the differentiation. They are going to come up with the e-vehicle and with unique distinct features which none other e-vehicle company is able to provide. The different competitors are able to provide, right? Now moving towards the next important topic, that is your strategic alliance. After understanding your different set of the business strategies, now another important call which top management may take is of strategically aligning, right? Most of the time you will find yourself that your business unit or your manufacturing setup is not capable of doing each and everything. I'm very good in production, but we are very weak in technology. So why not I align with some very smart technology company? Those who are very good in coming up with good applications, or those who are very good in coming up with the proper data handling, and the management or data analytics is very strong of such company. So instead of investing my own money in developing an IT department, I can look for some strategic alliances in order to support my major business of manufacturing. So let us try to understand what exactly is going to come under, which is again going to align with your thought process of business strategy, generic strategic model given by the Michael Porter. Now, types of the strategic alliance, like joint venture, what kind of strategic alliance you can perform? One is your joint venture, that two companies form a new entity, and like a Sony Ericsson, Sony plus Ericsson, and they started working in a mobile phone. But Sony was not earlier into mobile phone. Ericsson was into another business unit, and they both together decided, let us work together and develop the mobile phone. So that's how we are trying to leverage the benefit of each other, or maybe the strength of each other. Sony is having certain strength, Ericsson was having certain strength, and they started working on some other project which is going to be a additional project for them, and they are going to leverage the benefit of both the companies and coming up with the mobile phone in the market. So this is the joint venture. Another one could be the equity strategic alliance, where one company acquire partially the ownership of another. That means you are purchasing the shares of a company. Like Berkshire Hathaway is investing in Apple, and that's how they are generating a equity strategic alliance. By having a strategic alliance in this manner of equity, you will have a say in the decision making of the Apple Incorporation. You become a major partner of that Apple Incorporation if you are holding a significant percentage of a shares. Not just 1% or not just 0.5% or 0.0%, the people are holding a significant portion of a shares, and the moment they start holding a significant portion of a share, maybe 3%, 4%, 5%, that means it's a major stake, and they have the voting power in the annual general meetings of the company, and they will be the one who will be taking a correct decisions for the organization, or they are the part of the decision making of the entire board of directors. Then another one is the non-equity strategic alliance, a contractual agreement without ownership. So it is going to be a contractual agreement without ownership. That means you are not holding any shares, but still you are a significant person in the organization. Like Starbucks and PepsiCo, they distribute Starbucks bottled beverages. So PepsiCo is doing so because there is a non-equity strategic alliance between the two firms. Now, what are the benefits of the strategic alliance? That you can have an access to the new market. You might not be having a huge access in India. So via PepsiCo, you can easily enter into India market. So you need to see that the particular company is having a significant stake in a market. They've been able to develop a strong market position in a market. As a result, you can easily take a support of a strategic alliance and can easily enter into a market. Like some of the companies who are looking for geographical expansion, and they want some established organization to support them for their expansion, that they try to find out the renowned company of that country and associate themselves, form the strategic alliance with them, and then start coming up with the product with that in that particular country. Like initially, when American Insurance Group was planning to enter into India, they get into the strategic alliance with Tata. Now the name's been changed to American Insurance Association. Earlier it was American Insurance Group. So when they were planning to enter into India, they want to establish their insurance company in India, but insurance company is having a rub-off effect that you are not 100% sure this is an American company. At the time of the claim, they may leave the country. So they want to associate themselves with some renowned company, and Tata considered to be the most renowned company of the country. The people trust, investor is having a lot of confidence over the Tata groups. So they associated themselves, they create a strategic alliance with the Tata group and then start offering the services in India. Now, the moment they get themselves associated with Tata, people started trusting AIG also. So this is how they access to the new market. Shared risk and the cost. Both the companies are going to share the risk and the cost of the investment in the new market. Faster innovation and comparative advantage. You can easily do the innovation and can easily expand your business in the new market or the new geographical location, because the person with whom you have strategically aligned is the old person, is there in the country for so many years. For example, Microsoft OpenAI. Microsoft invested in OpenAI to integrate AI-powered solutions into its product like Azure and the Office. Spotify and Uber allowed Uber rider to play their Spotify playlist during the ride, enhancing the customer experience. So these are the well-known recent examples in the strategic alliance. Now students, let's quickly recap what we had done. And in this process of the recap, you will got to know that how business strategy framework is going to pay the way for taking a right call or right decisions while you are fixing the business strategy. As you already know that business strategies are going to be formulated by the middle level managers, and the job of the middle level manager is to simplify the complexity of the corporate strategy. Say for example, the corporate strategy is stating out that we want to enter into the rural area, we want to penetrate deeply into the rural area because a major portion of the society is surviving in the rural area, and we want to cater the rural market. So in that case, do you really think with this statement we are getting a clarity that which particular department has to perform what? So there is no clarity. The moment business strategies are going to take charge, business strategies are going to come in between, then only the functional level people will have the understanding what exactly is expected them to perform. So in this lecture, what we discussed, let's have a quick recap of that understanding of business strategic framework, that using the tool like SWOT, PESTEL and the Porter's 5-force model. All these elements actually help the organization to get the list of what? The list of the strength, list of weakness, opportunities and the threats. And after getting the understanding of all these strength, weakness, opportunities and threats, you have to have a fair understanding that what is the vision of the organization, what is the mission of the organization, and what is the objective of my organization. Because you need to bring the alignment of what you have received in this assessment with the vision and mission. You need to blend what you are going to really do, because you cannot move without having an understanding of vision and mission of the organization. You can't go against, and if any of the organization is trying to go against the vision mission of the company, they are going to create an executional problem, because the top management is perceiving something else, you at a middle level management is stating something else, and there's going to be a contradiction, and as a result the people will not be able to understand that what exactly is expected from them to be performed in the organization. So whatever the outcomes you are getting after the assessment of SWOT matrix, PESTEL analysis or the 5 forces Porter's model, you need to align those outcomes with the vision, mission and the objective of the organization. Once that alignment is done, the next level comes that which particular strategy I am going to execute. Are we going for the cost leadership, or are we going for differentiation, or we will be focusing either on cost or on differentiation. So you need to understand that what exactly are we going to perform. So based on this, you will be taking a call whether I should go for the cost leadership, I should go for the differentiation, or I should go for focus. And under focus, is it going to be a cost focus or is it going to be a differentiation focus? So when you are taking a call that I should go for differentiation, that means your opportunity should favor the cost leadership, right? There must be some raw material which is readily available at a very cheap rate, and there must be some government policies also which is helping you or giving you a subsidy to buy the raw material in bulk. And at the same point of time, you could sense out under the socio-cultural environment, that is a PESTEL, that customer are demanding for this product, so the market size is going to be so big. But if the market size is not big, there is no opportunity of buying the raw material at a comparatively the cheaper rate or the lower rate, then do you really think you will be able to get the advantage of the cost leadership? Answer is no. Your entire money will go in waste, because cost leadership is only possible when you are reducing the per unit cost of production, must buy the raw material in bulk, must do the processing of the bulk production, and then only you will be in a position to develop a bulk amount of the finished good. And once the bulk amount of the finished good is developed, then the bulk should be transit to the ultimate retailer or the wholesaler. But if it is not happening, then this entire equation will be of no use for you to execute. So if you really want to execute the cost leadership in your country, in your company, then you have to see that socio-cultural environment is supporting, suppliers are there to provide you the raw material in bulk, Government is supporting, the political party is supporting by giving some subsidies to you so that you can get the per unit, you can get the raw material at a subsidized rate. So for cost leadership, all these factors at least should be attained. Then only you can take a risk of coming up with the cost leadership. Otherwise, it will be very costly for you to overcome the cost which you have invested. Another thing which you can take a call of while taking a business strategy as a final decision for the rest of the people to understand, the corporate strategy could be differentiation, that I don't want to follow the cost leadership, I want to come up with my own unique product. Well, very good, you can come up with your own unique product, but at the same point of time you have to see whether opportunities are supporting that differentiations or not. Is your strength matching with that differentiation or not? If you don't have that skill set, then how you will be doing it? Then you have to go for the strategic alliance, right? So if you are coming up with the idea that there are a lot of opportunities, like in case of a Tesla, we have seen there are a lot of opportunities in the e-vehicles, but if they are lagging in some of the strength area, what they will be doing? They will be going for the strategic alliance, right? So that they can together work to get the maximum of the opportunities. And once the strategic alliance took place between Tesla and the company with whom they are trying to amplify the possibilities of the strength, then this differentiation is going to be so effective, so buzzing, that none of the other company will be in a position to compete until and unless they are also deciding or planning in the same way that the Tesla is doing. So this is what the differentiation is. And in the next way which you can take a call of is a focus either on the cost or you can focus on the differentiation. If you are focusing on the cost, that means you are trying to support some of the class of the people who cannot afford to buy the product at the rate which is largely available in the market, like some people who are living below the poverty line, and you are trying to provide some outfit to them, you are trying to provide some transportation services to them, you are trying to provide some staple food to them at a rate which none other company can offer. Here you again have to come up with what very focused approach, keeping in mind the paying capacity and the standard of living of those class of the people. Then comes the differentiation. Differentiation focus is focusing on the particular interest of an individual. You are trying to customize your product as per taste and preference of the individual customer. Here the cost of product is going to be so high, and you can do this you cannot do this until unless you have a highly skilled manpower in your organization to really transform the product or to tailor the product as per taste and preferences. So when you are setting the business strategy for your organization, all these parameters along with vision, mission and objective of the organization has to be taken into consideration. Once it is done, then only it will be in a position to transform it to the functional level people or the operational level people. That is going to be our next lecture discussion. So dear students, in this particular lecture, we try to understand that how middle level people or the middle level managers of the organization are setting the strategy for the organization based on the corporate strategy. And now they have simplified the approach for the functional level to understand. Let us see in the next lecture how they are going to be so useful for the ground level people or the labor people who are working in the organization to execute what is expected them to perform. For further reading, you can refer this book. Thank you for today.